an AI agent that writes and fixes code for you. MicroAgent. Just run MicroAgent, give it a prompt, and it'll generate a test and then iterate on code until all test cases pass. Why? LLMs are great at giving you broken code, and it can take repeat iteration to get that code to work as expected. So why do this manually when AI can handle not just the generation but also the iteration and fixing? Why a microagent? AI agents are cool, but general-purpose coding agents rarely work as hoped or promised. They tend to go haywire with compounding errors. The idea of a microagent is to create a definitive test case that can give clear feedback if the code works as intended or not, and iterate on code until all test cases pass. What this project is not trying to be an end-to-end developer. AI agents are not capable enough to reliably try to be that yet, or probably very soon. This project won't install modules, read and write multiple files, or do anything else that is highly likely to cause havoc when it inevitably fails. It's a microagent. It's small, focused, and does one thing as well as possible: write a test, then produce code that passes that test. Installation microagent requires Node.js v14 or later. npm install builder.io/microagent. Getting started. The best way to get started is to run microagent in interactive mode, where it will ask you questions about the code it generates and use your feedback to improve the code it generates. Look at that, you're now a test-driven developer, you're welcome. Running manually. Add an LLM API key. Microagent works with Claude, OpenAI, Ollama, or any OpenAI compatible provider, such as Grok. You need to add your API key to the CLI. Microagent config set OpenAI key keys your token. Microagent microconfig GPT-4o. Or for Claude, microagent config set Anthropic key equals your token microagent config set model equals Claude. To use a custom OpenAI API endpoint, such as for use with Ollama or Grok, you can set the endpoint with microagent config set OpenAI API endpoint your microagent config set OpenAI API endpoint 8 API 8.grok.com/v1 unit test matching. To run the microagent on a file in unit test matching mode, you need to provide a test script that will run after each code generation attempt. For instance, microagent.file-to-edit.ts-t npm test. This will run the microagent on the file/file-to-edit.ts, running npm test, and will write code until the tests pass. The above assumes the following file structure: sum folder, file-to-edit.ts, file-to-edit.test, test file. If you need a different path, use the -f argument file-to-edit.prompt.md, tac optional prompt file. If you need a different path, use the p argument. By default, microagent assumes you have a test file with the same name as the editing file but with test.ts appended, such as file-to-edit.test.ts for the above examples. If this is not the case, you can specify the test file with the -f flag. You can also add a prompt to help guide the code generation, either at a file located at filename.prompt.md, like /file-to-edit.md, or by specifying the prompt file with a -p. For instance, microagent.file-to-edit.ts npm test-file-to-edit.spec.ts/path-to-prompt.prompt.md. Visual matching experimental. Warning: this feature is experimental and under active development. Use with caution. Microagent can also help you match a design. To do this, you need to provide a design and a local URL to your rendered code. For instance, microagent/app/about/page.tsx visual localhost 3000/about. Microagent will then generate code until the rendered output of your code matches a screenshot file that you place next to the code you are editing. In this case, it would be /app-about-page.png. The above assumes the following file structure: app/about, the code to edit, page.png, the screenshot to matched.prompt.md. Optional editee.